What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Hey, BALLBUSTERS, Bates here with your friend of mine, Ray Mungus, and we're ready to shut down the drive-in. Episode 31, Way of Life Live. How's it going over there?
I'm alive. How are you?
Still trying to frickin' recover from this weekend, man.
You too?
Just long and draining, man. I don't know if I've ever sat there and watched that many movies in a row.
Probably like our earlier days in Monster Mania. But then again, we had like beer and a lot more beer to keep us going.
Yes, and Red Bull.
True. Yeah, no, this week's been a total drag, and what's been worse, I guess, is the fact that my schedule's kind of all over the place. They got me coming in at like 6 one day, 8 the next, and I'm like trying to adjust day by day, but after this past weekend, it's just not flying.
Yeah, the only good thing is, we had all of Sunday to kind of recoup, so that was good.
Yeah, definitely. I don't even have a recollection of Sunday. Like I think I slept for like 11 hours after coming home, and the weird thing about Saturday night was I got home and I was still in movie mode. I was still like, all right, man, I'm gonna go download Hellraiser 2, and I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch this and this, and like within a half hour, I was like, I'm going to bed. Fuck this.
It's kind of funny because after we had watched Hellraiser, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, I want Hellraiser 2 right now. And,
seriously, like it just put me in such a mood to explore those movies again. And like you would think, after how many movies we've watched, we would not want to watch movies for a while, or even look at a screen for that matter.
Yeah. No, and I gotta say, for the most part, there was a pretty good selection of movies. We missed one really good one because we were sleeping. But aside from that, there's only really one miss. And we'll get into that a bit later.
Or a bit sooner. But, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. It just, what we're talking about, for, what's it called? For those who are listening, you might not know what we're talking about, but basically, over the weekend, Joe Bob Briggs and the Shudder Network, they had a big movie marathon event, basically, and it was called The Last Drive-In. We were talking about it on the most recent podcast, and I think a couple podcasts before. And what we ended up trying to do was a 24-hour marathon ourselves. Like, we were going to basically get together, toss on the webcam, put on the mics, and just hang out, sit on the couch and watch all 24 hours. And we fell flat, but with good reason.
Yeah, by the time we actually finally went to bed, we were up 24 hours at that point, because we had gotten up at 5 and 5:30 Friday morning to go to work. And by the time the marathon actually started, it was, by the time we started streaming, it was 9 p.m.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it was 9 or 10. We started the stream. You're right. We started the stream at 9 with a pre-show because we were basically trying to get the Shudder app to work on any platform. Like you went through like 6 different things to get it to work.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I had a laptop, I had a Chromecast, I had an Apple TV, I had my iPhone, I had anything and everything. I eventually was using my third computer, which I used to record non-live podcasts with. I hooked that up to my TV, and I finally got that working. And that's what we watched the entire event on, sans the first movie, which was Tourist Trap. and
which would have been fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen it in so long, and we missed the probably like almost all of the last movie, which was Pieces, because Shudder crashed again. So
yeah, that was. I mean, I'm sure you were celebrating that, but not me. I was really looking forward to watching the plane land, so to speak. I've always enjoyed Pieces, and I more than anything, I wanted to watch the very end segment with Joe Bob shutting down the drive-in, essentially.
yeah, no, so did I. I definitely I was gonna suffer through Pieces just to enjoy that aspect of the entire event, but it didn't quite play out that way, sadly.
Did you catch it on demand?
Yes.
Yeah, I did the same. I finished watching it and got to the end, and oh man, it was a good ending. Somebody was chopping onions in the other room, but it was nice.
Yeah, it's a little upsetting, but as I've said a couple times before, it may not be the end. They might offer him something to come back and do on a monthly basis or a bi-weekly basis, or they might offer him some kind of contract that I know fans would love to see, and it would definitely keep subscribers to Shudder if they had some type of Monster Vision revival. But he claims it's the last time, so only time will tell. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like there's a little bit of kind of like a grassroots movement going on, where the fans of The Last Drive-In, Monster Vision, and all that, they're basically trying to like have us pound the pavement a little bit and get Shudder to realize that, hey, this is a very successful event and we want more of it. So one of my buddies posted a screenshot of like some sort of, I guess a horror chat of some sort, and basically if you want more Last Drive-In, Joe Bob and stuff like that, like you just gotta let Shudder know. And it sounds stupid to be like, hey, we're just gonna tweet at the general manager of Shudder or Shudder's Twitter account or email him or whatnot. But we were loud this weekend, like as a horror community. We were very, very loud with getting the word out about this event. It was a giant communal experience. Like this whole thing was pre-recorded, so like you would expect, okay, well, we can watch it at any time. It's going to be on demand, so why get together and watch it all at once? Who knows? We all did, and the thing is it kind of like rocked the fact that we had Blood Feast and H.G. Lewis trending worldwide on Twitter. Nationwide rather, on Twitter is like astounding. So a little word of mouth goes a long way, and if you enjoyed it or want to see more things like this, like you need to start hitting that pavement and let these people know. Like support@shudder.com. You could send an email, tweet at them, talk to them on Facebook, etc.
Yeah, and for anyone who was thinking that this won't be exactly like Monster Vision, well, it was exactly like Monster Vision. Obviously, the mail segment was a little bit different because there's not as much mail anymore, so it was all social media shit, but it still worked the same. Joe Bob's stories and information on the films was all spot on and as interesting as ever. His rants were rantier than ever, and he still would go back to the movie every time the same way like he did back in the 90s. He would say, all right, let's get back to Reanimator, and then he would turn to face another camera and then go on another 2 or 3 minute rant about something before the movie actually started, and he would do that every time. And it really was bringing me right back to the 90s, sitting in my basement on, I forget what night it was on. I don't remember if it was Friday or Saturday night, but sitting in the basement on the weekend night, watching whatever Monster Vision was playing that week. I mean, I was a slave to Monster Vision as a kid growing up. So to see it recreated in such spectacular fashion, right down to the set. The set looked amazing. They even had the lizard from the original intro. Obviously not the same lizard, but they had a lizard to, help mimic the original intro. And man, just it was a flood of emotions. Every time Joe Bob would come back on screen and start talking about something.
Yeah, I love the fact that he was like a crazier coot. Like he, with age, he is, like you said before, his rants got a little rantier, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know, like, for example, the Legend of Boggy Creek, which, if you've seen our broadcast when we got to that movie, we were not digging that movie. It was a
slog.
A little painful, but everything that was happening in between the movie, like it just kept me invested. Like, sure, the movie was a slog, like you just said, but like his wild and wacky theories and like I just couldn't stop watching, and it was amazing. He legitimately saved that movie for me. And not to say it's a bad movie or anything, it's very, very slow. The decent ideas, maybe not so good execution, better in its time, but like he made that movie a blast to watch. Like, just waiting for his segments, and furthermore, his wild and asinine theory of what that movie's monster really is wonderful. I want to see that version of the movie instead. But like listening to all these segments in between and watching pretty much like my memory, like I essentially didn't have the same sort of childhood as Bates here, but I did catch the show, in my youth, and it definitely brought me back. But more importantly, it kind of like reinvigorated my love for horror. Like I'm always like in need of that charge where I focus on a different genre for a while, or I just binge TV shows or something like that, or my life's just too busy for the things that I love. So I need an event like a Monster Mania Weekend Away, where we just sit there and watch horror movies, or in this particular case, The Last Drive-In, which basically, like I said earlier in the broadcast tonight, I just wanted to go home and just watch horror movie after horror movie. I just sat through, how many movies did we watch?
9.
9? I just sat through 9 horror flicks, and I'm like, bring them on, let's do this.
Because I'm counting, because we missed Tourist Trap, we missed Blood Feast, the Sorority Movie, Daughters of Darkness, and Pieces. But we technically saw most of Basket Case. We just didn't stream that, so I'm counting that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was not even halfway through, I don't think, when we turned it on, and we were just basically hanging around getting all of our equipment sorted out.
But yeah, no, that was it was a really fun event. It was definitely something I would like to do again, just on a much smaller scale.
Like I'm basically game for a 24-hour one, but it has to have a fucking good reason for it. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, so, yeah. No, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
But I'm just saying, if we have it a takeoff or something like that, and we're able to do a charity situation or something, I'm game for it. I'll take some time off, and I'll make sure that I'm ready to stay up for it. But just for the hell of it, no. Maybe we'll do a double feature. I think that's as far as I'll go.
That's what I said. I said, we could do a double feature, even a triple if we're feeling, particularly jaunty that night. But there is no way we're going anywhere over 3 movies. 2 to 3 would be our limit, depending on the movies.
Yeah, I hear you, and I think it would be a lot of fun. I think we could set things up a little bit differently as far as like look goes, and kind of maybe turn it into something fun, bring in some people. I know that there's been some interest amongst the staff members of Dead Entertainment in wanting to hang out for some commentaries, and just like hang out in bullshit movies. I know Jay wants to. He's dying to watch Cat in the Brain just so he could further like pound it in my head how much he hates that movie.
No, fuck him. He can't watch that with us. I'm banning him from watching that with us. I'm not putting up with his dog shit while I'm watching a good movie.
Yeah, I'm like ready to fight him on it. You know, like bring on the arguing. That would be a great podcast, I think.
But it's something we're considering. Something we're considering, comma considering. Our Watch Till We Drop videos did way better than I thought they would. I'm assuming that for as many views as we got, I'm sure most of those people didn't watch more than a couple minutes. But fact still remains that we got way more traffic on those videos and streams than I thought we would. So that's good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing that I guess the goal that I was having was to get a couple subscribers. We did that, and just kind of get the word out there. Maybe have our name within the tags when people are searching for like clips related to it and this and that. And all it takes is a couple minutes to catch on to something they might like, and we might not be the best podcasters out there, but hey, some people might dig what we do, so that's all that matters. And to come into a YouTube channel and say, oh, they got some podcasting, all right, not bad. They have a couple videos. Holy fuck, they have a 7-hour and a 9-hour video. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, that might pique somebody's interest.
That's called dedication, motherfucker.
Exactly. And if it doesn't, you know what, man? We had a good time. It's something to look back on. I have no regrets.
No, of course not. It was definitely a good time, and definitely a throwback to things, the way we used to do it back in our youth.
Pretty much, and to see the entirety of Twitter, like every time I logged on Twitter, like everybody that I follow in the horror community is just gleaming. Like it felt like a distant horror convention. You know that feeling when we go to a horror con and it almost feels like we're seeing family that don't suck? Like it had that vibe to it.
Yeah, most cons anyway.
Oh, you know what I'm saying. We've been to enough conventions to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, so the event was a more or less success, and we're hoping that it leads to some type of weekly, bi-weekly, monthly show on Shudder. That would give me a reason to stay subscribed. Now, that's not to say that Shudder doesn't have great programming as it is, great movie offerings, but it's nothing that I don't need, nothing that I haven't already seen, nothing that I haven't already enjoyed. But when you bring an aspect and a legendary commentary of Joe Bob Briggs back into the fold, then that's something worth. That's something that to me is worth paying the monthly subscription to get, whether it be once, twice, or 4 times a month. I wouldn't really care. It would be worth it to me.
I see it like this, man. It's $4.99 a month, so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I do need a little more horror in my life. I love the idea of them taking that next step and kind of introducing original programming, stuff that is tailored to us, and it seems like that's where they're heading. But like, I don't watch enough new horror or stuff that's like exclusive or some indie shit and things like that. So I figure, hey, for the $5, I could give it a chance. So they made a subscriber out of me.
Yeah, I guess it's just Netflix has more than enough for me, but I mean there is something else coming to Shudder that might make me stick around, and I guess we'll just go right into that, and that will start off this week's horror news segment.
It's all horror fiction, silver screen addiction. Cinematic gore and murder. It's horror fiction, not a fact prediction. Movies cannot make.
All right, so apparently, and I think it actually got announced today that Shudder is teaming up with Greg Nicotero, and they are resurrecting Creepshow as some type of horror anthology series. Wow, that kind of came out of left field.
Yeah, I didn't expect anything, and it seems like Shudder has their pieces, their pawns in in the perfect position, ready for the kill. And I wasn't expecting something to be announced like this so soon after the last drive-in, but they're coming to play.
I hate your fan. I hate it so much. It blows into your microphone. Next time I'm over your house, I am just drop kicking your fan. Yeah, it's.
Is that better? You happy?
Yes, thank you. It's driving me freaking nuts, man. It's kind of cool. Blumhouse lately has been kind of cornering the market on solid horror movies that are getting released out in theaters, and now if Shudder can get some type of Monster Vision series back off the ground, and with this Creepshow series, they're looking like they want to try to corner the market on solid horror television.
Yeah, definitely, and the fact that Netflix is kind of more interested in becoming the kind, I guess, the HBO of streaming services. It leaves a lot of opportunity for a different company to just come in and be like, okay, well, you got a couple horror shows, but we're going to show you how it's done. And they're not starting with anything cheap or necessarily, I guess, bottom of the barrel. They're going straight for one of probably the most popular effects guy working today, not to mention a renowned director. And I only say that in the sense that his episodes of The Walking Dead are probably the most gorgeous. They're probably the most horrific feeling. They have such a like you could watch his episode of The Walking Dead and you could say this is a Nicotero episode. That's how unmistakable his his direction is. So for them to go in with him as from what I see as an executive producer in a way of overseeing everything, the basic runs of the show and the effects. I can't think of anybody better to take that step with.
And it was, I guess, it was like the perfect time to announce such a series too. After the massive success that was The Last Drive-In, you had everybody buzzing about Shudder at that point. So it was only natural that they announced something big, and I wouldn't say too many things are bigger in terms of horror, short of Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham saying they've come to terms and the lawsuit is over and somebody has the rights and a movie is now underway for Friday the 13th. That'd be the only thing that would top a Creepshow revival announcement, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And a year after George Romero's passing, who better? And he's worked on Day of the Dead with him, he was coming up at that point, as an effects master. And I have no doubt in my mind he's going to make sure that this baby is going to be in the proper hands. And hey, I wouldn't be surprised if even Stephen King gets involved in some way.
Yeah, you know what? You know what I could see this turning into, honestly?
What's that?
Another Masters of Horror.
That'd be fantastic. I mean, these directors, they might not be doing too much these days, and give them another swing.
Yeah, the only thing you need, honestly, the only thing you need to do different to set it slightly apart from Masters of Horror is have, animated bumpers. Maybe 5 to 10 minute animated bumpers of some sort that, depict the Creepshow ghoul, and maybe bring back some classic characters from the 2 original movies. Bring back Geordie and bring back the Crate Monster and bring back the Cigar Store Indian. Have them in some animated shorts in between episodes or in between segments, And that would set it apart from Masters of Horror, make it instantly recognizable to any horror fan who's ever seen Creepshow or Creepshow 2, but still keeping the charm that we're looking for in some type of Creepshow anthology series. And you're giving talented horror directors a chance to create something that maybe they wouldn't be able to get enough of a production budget or green light on to make a full-length feature from a studio. So, I mean, if the money is there, and, you know, I'm sure they can grab the talent, and this could turn into something very special for horror fans.
Yeah, with a guy like Nicotero having his own, you know, his special effects like studio, you basically, I guess basically the sky is the limit as far as that goes. So they're not going to have to overly worry about, you know, getting that. They just got to nail down the proper stories and get the right talent in there. I'd also like to see some like familiar faces, like bring in Tom Atkins. You know, he doesn't have to play the abusive dad or anything. Just put him in a new role. Maybe put in some of those other characters that we've seen in the previous live action bumpers, and bring them into the short films, you know, or however they plan on doing it, whether they're episodic, short films, or what. But I totally agree about the whole animated bumpers, because that was always fun when you're watching the original Creepshow. You know, it had this connective tissue that also told its own story, and by the film's end, and it might not have been like the most massive story, but it really tied the entire film together, you know, and I think that would be a great way to do it for the TV series.
Or what I think would actually be really cool is maybe have the little animated kid from the first movie all grown up in a new little animated adventure every episode.
Yeah, that would be cool too. I would really dig that.
You know, they can think outside the box without, you know, breaking too far out of the box, and, you know, just use the source material at hand just to create something, as I said, just recognizable, just something to draw in fans of the original, just draw them back in. And it's something so simple, like, you know, just bringing back classic characters, I think is the best way to do it. And easiest and probably cheapest.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, if they nail those elements down, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a kind of a blockbuster on their hands.
Yeah, it's you know, if we don't get a Monster Vision revival, I'll probably, you know, renew my subscription to Shudder once this comes out. So at least I have something to look forward to on Shudder right now.
Yeah, and from the sound of it, I really don't think they're going to be stopping. So let's see what else is in store, if anything, and you know, patiently wait for this thing, or impatiently rather.
And joining this Creepshow revival is actually going to be Zombieland 2, which we got a release date of October 11th, 2019. Which happens to be around 10 years after the first film.
Yeah, that makes me feel old.
I know, I can't believe it's 10 years already.
It doesn't feel like it, but...
No, it does. It really does.
Well, maybe not in that respect, but, like, I've always got this, like, I guess memory, like, I just went to see it maybe a year or two ago. So it's really weird to me.
Yeah, no, I remember when it came out quite vividly, because I remember watching the previews, and I'm like, Michael Cera is in a fucking zombie movie? And then I'm looking, I'm like, wait, that's not Michael Cera. Who the fuck is this Michael Cera wannabe? And, you know, obviously Jesse Eisenberg, and you're watching it, and you're still like, no, this isn't Michael Cera.
Yeah, he just grew out his hair.
It's like, I've seen Superbad 36 times. This is Michael Cera. Don't fuck with me here. All right, I don't know who this Jesse Eisenberg character is, but it's Michael Cera. But but the movie worked. It was a fun movie. I wouldn't really call it scary, but I don't think that's obviously what it was going for. It's going for more of a satire zombie flick in the same vein as Shaun of the Dead, and it hit a home run. It was a great cast. One of the all-time best cameos ever in a movie, and yeah, just thoroughly entertaining. And now that we're getting a sequel, finally, with the original cast, we can forget all about that TV series.
What TV series?
Exactly.
I long forgot about it.
Exactly. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just leave it there. Don't go looking.
watch the movie.
Don't go looking. You are not going to like what you find. That's your only warning. I'm sorry I even brought it up.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it again. So back to the cameo. That cameo. Are we not spoiling the cameo?
Nah,
They had 10 years to see it.
I wasn't going to dive into the movie. I mean, at this point, there's not a whole lot that needs to be said about the movie.
Oh no, I don't want to dive into it. I just wanted to say that Bill Murray's cameo by far makes it like one of the best cameos ever, for one, and it gives it like an automatic 8 for me. You know, like seeing him wearing what, a fucking like a vacuum cleaner as a proton pack.
Yeah.
I was elated after that. And if you know me personally, you know that I'm a diehard Ghostbusters fan. Like, I'm a massive Ghostbuster fan. So that was amazing to me to see him have even the slightest inkling towards any Ghostbuster reference at that point in time. Was fantastic, and I can't believe it's 10 years. Holy shit. Now, do we get Dan Aykroyd in the movie, the next one? Like, I would go through the entire cast, minus Harold Ramis, unfortunately.
Well, I'll get to that in 1 second. I think my favorite part about that cameo is I'm a Ghostbusters fan too, not as big as a Ghostbusters fan as you. But one of my favorite movies ever was Kingpin. So seeing Woody and Bill in a movie together and a couple scenes together again, just like in Kingpin, was definitely a treat for me. Just wonderful.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Like, and their chemistry together is just like unmatched. Like, you could see in Woody Harrelson's face in that particular scene when he's geeking out. I don't think that was all acting. You know, he was just massive fanboying for Bill.
Yeah, no, but that's just kind of that's just how good of an actor he is. I've been a fan of Woody Harrelson since I first saw him in White Men Can't Jump.
Oh, he's wonderful, and the more roles that he's in, like, put him in everything as far as I'm concerned.
But if I had to take my choice of a cameo as legendary and awesome as Bill Murray in Zombieland 2, I would have to push Dan Aykroyd aside for as much as I love Dan Aykroyd, and I would have to go Rick Moranis.
Ooh, right in the gut. That's horrible. Can we have both?
Yep. I think if they could film a cameo scene with him, like, under, and keep it under wraps until the movie is released, I think fans would go absolutely bonkers, man.
Yeah, I could see Rick Moranis surviving Zombieland too. So
yeah, so that would be who I would pick. Is it possible? Yeah. Now that Rick Moranis is sort of looking at roles again. And by the way, he never retired. He was just taking a extended break. But, he recently did some voiceover work in an episode of The Goldbergs. So it's safe to say that if he finds a role that he likes or a script that he likes, we're going to see more of Rick Moranis. Actually, he's actually going to be in something.
Really?
Did you know that?
Aside from the Goldbergs role, I didn't know he was, like, up for anything.
Well, he's not technically up for anything. They're doing an SCTV, like, reunion documentary for Netflix.
Ooh, that's gonna be good.
And I was always a big fan of it, you know, from what I've seen of SCTV. It was very funny, very clever, and yeah, he's on board for that. So definitely,
that's awesome. I'm actually hoping that, I'm actually caught off guard here because I didn't hear anything about that documentary, and I'm wondering if we might see some of the footage from that charity event that took place a couple years ago. Did you hear about that?
yes.
And he re-teamed with, I'm forgetting his fucking name right now.
Dave Thomas.
Thomas, there you go. To play Bob and Doug McKenzie again. You know, like the Strange Brew and SCTV gang. Like that was massive for me, and unfortunately, it was a live thing only. So I'm curious if we're gonna see maybe a little bit of that in the documentary, maybe a whole release. That would be amazing. But just to see the legacy of that told in documentary form would be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely something I'm looking forward to. But yeah, that would be my pick for cameo, Rick Moranis.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to shove Dan aside for part 3. That's you basically just dunked on me.
And he could be decked out in his dark helmet gear, because that could be like his zombie armor.
Oh my god, why aren't you writing this movie? Seriously, spend the next year tweeting at Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese. You know, just the same idea every day, and they're eventually going to do it.
And it could be, and you know what? Rick Moranis can spruce up the dark helmet armor and helmet. He can Mad Max it out with spikes and wasteland look.
Oh my god! And you know, Mel Brooks would give it his blessing.
Oh my god, yeah. Without a doubt.
Man. You're ruining another sequel for me, by the way.
Yeah,
now I want to see that movie.
That's what I do.
Apparently.
All right, so moving on from Zombieland 2 to the 3rd season of MTV's Scream series.
This is complicated. I don't know if you read the article or not.
I did not, so it seems like you're a little bit more versed in this particular topic, so why don't you go for it?
Yeah, definitely. So the Scream series on MTV was surprisingly decent. People didn't expect much of it because it was going to be on MTV, so everybody was like, "Oh, well, what's this going to be?" They watched it more out of curiosity, and I guess the show caught them off guard and by surprise, and it turned out to be pretty solid. They went for 2 seasons, and it was pretty successful. Both seasons, everybody enjoyed it, and the shock came when they announced that part 3 or the season 3 would not include any of the cast members from part season 1 and 2. So everybody was like, "What's happening with this thing?" So essentially, they wanted to jump on the whole remake reboot craze and kind of satire that a little bit. Maybe that's not the right word, but they wanted to kind of reinvent the show in a way, and it did. And honestly, it seemed like it was something creatively. You know, they didn't want to. It wasn't a contract thing or anything like that. But long story short, the rights and everything were kind of in limbo because of the, I guess, dissolving of the Weinstein Company, who owned the rights to Scream. So. What I'm getting to with this is there was a Hollywood Reporter article that was basically covering, the asset sale from the Weinstein Company to a company by the name of Lantern Entertainment, who bought the Weinstein Company's assets for $289 million. So recently they decided to relent on Scream. So the rights for Scream are going to be basically for the picking. They're able to shop around the franchise to wherever they were. And the thing that was holding that up was Netflix's deal. This is, like I said, it's very, very overcomplicated. But I guess the bottom line of everything is just deals upon deals upon deals, halting Scream from really coming to fruition or moving forward in any fashion. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is that's over with now. They were expected to deliver a season by July 11th in order for Netflix to be able to keep up their deal with I guess the Weinstein Company. I don't know exactly who their deal was with, But now that the 11th has passed, you know, the whole domino effect happened. The castle crumbled, and we're in a position now for this series to move forward under, I guess, new management, under new rights holders, under a potentially new network. You know, financiers is another option, or another you know, like thing that's going to factor in. And like, I got to give credit for the person who like came up with this whole thing. It was just simple article about this whole this whole like sale and everything. And Brad Miska from Bloody Disgusting kind of like really put the whole thing into perspective and said, you know, this could be finally the thing that we were waiting for to get the third season of Scream off its, you know, like ass for the most part. So like, it's nothing set in stone right now, but Scream could be moving forward sooner than later.
Christ, that's a lot of nonsense all up in there.
Yeah, it's like really convoluted, and I wanted to keep it into the news tonight because like it's interesting to me to see how everything is just factoring one thing over another. And it's like, if you pull one of those pegs, the entire thing collapses. And we finally reached a point where it collapsed, everybody cleaned up the mess, and Scream is sitting there waiting to be picked up, whether they pick it up for a television show or a new movie. Hell, maybe make a sequel to the original like they're doing with Halloween. They're like the shit's endless at this point of what they could do.
I could see Blumhouse just grabbing it.
Perfect. Like, you know, like throw it on Shudder, you know, or make a TV series out of it, a new one, or make another movie. Like, this could be good, like a blessing, you know, disguised as some legal mumbo jumbo.
I don't know. I don't know what we can expect from this. I never watched the series, not because I thought it was bad. I don't know. It just didn't look all that gripping to me. And I gotta say that the mask was a little disappointing when I finally saw it. So I know it's silly. It's a silly thing to nitpick about, but it's, you know, the Scream mask pretty iconic, and then they change it drastically, and you just expect me to be okay with that? I'm not gonna be okay with it.
You know what's messed up about that? It's more legal bullshit is the reason why that mask was changed. Like, I forget which company owns the rights to the Scream mask, but apparently, you know, the company that was financing the Scream television show, they didn't have the money to really license the look of it. So that's why it was reinvented for television. And I'm hoping that whoever swoops in and picks this up decides, hey, we need that mask back. You know, I mean, I allowed the television series mask. I dealt with it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So at this point in time, I'm really hoping that they bring it back to where it should be, and you know, not do a Halloween 5 out of it, because that's basically what we got in the television show.
Yeah, you know, and I was surprised that after season 1, it got a second season. I didn't realize it was getting, you know, good ratings like that and a lot of viewership, but apparently it was well enough to get a second season.
Yeah, definitely. The MTV had a couple hit horror shows, like Teen Wolf was one of them. I think there was one others, but like the crowd that was into those shows were kind of like going back and forth between the horror shows that they were putting out. And surprisingly enough, they put some, like, the people that were in charge of getting those television shows off the ground, like, it feels like MTV just threw money at them and said, all right, you guys could go play with your blood over there, don't worry about it. And, like, they weren't masterpieces, and they were completely loaded with, you know, like, modern day teens and, you know, like iPhones and all that good stuff that us old people complain about. But they were made by horror fans, and that's what I thought was cool about it. So, you know, if it does end up back on MTV and it's a rebooted situation, I'm definitely curious to see where it goes. I'm just glad that it's out of the lawyers' hands at this point and could be potentially in the hands of some creators sometime soon.
Well, guess we'll have to just wait and see. To stay up to date on all the news, on any news updates for the third season of Scream and anything else you've heard tonight, make sure you keep checking back on at deadentertainment.com. So, moving forward from some more classic series to another classic horror movie, you could sort of say, that is being remade. And of course, I'm talking about, well, not of course, I don't really expect too many people to be overly familiar with this movie. Even I wasn't really overly familiar with it. But it is David Cronenberg's Rabid, which is being remade by the Soska Twins. Now, Rabid, that might sound familiar. Well, if it sounds familiar to you, it's because it was the third movie in the last drive-in on Friday night.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the third movie that they played, the second movie that we watched Friday night. And it is just as fucking ridiculous as I remember it from seeing parts of it years and years ago. And we actually sat there, we watched it. It's a very entertaining movie. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I'm gonna revisit that soon, and I'll have the final word on whether it makes sense or not. I'm gonna really put my focus in on this and see what we could make out of it.
But this remake has actually gotten a little bit interesting because apparently, and I didn't even know this, but if you guys are wrestling fans out there, well, AJ Lee and CM Punk have apparently joined the cast. Now, why? I don't know. Did they say who they're playing? I mean, AJ Lee is not playing Rose, is she?
Let me see real quick.
Sorry
about that. I was on the wrong thing. They're playing characters by the name of Billy and Kira, I guess.
I don't even know if those were characters from the original. They might have been.
I think the person in the starring role is Laura Vandervoort. I'm not exactly familiar with her.
That name sounds familiar.
I'm looking it up right now. My browser's decided to crash.
That name sounds very familiar. Laura Vandervoort. Does anybody
She was in Smallville. She was in Jigsaw.
Maybe that's...
49.
No, because I didn't see Jigsaw. Bitten?
Alright.
Maybe that's where I'm familiar with her from?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? She was in one episode.
Yeah, because I'm going to remember that one episode, right?
Nailed it. Yeah. I know this is boring, us trying to figure out where we know her from, but she played Supergirl in Smallville.
Yeah, I didn't watch that garbage.
Yeah, me either.
I know the name, and I'm sort of familiar with Bitten, but I thought there was at least something I was overly familiar with that she was in, but I can't find it. All right, so there you go. There. I don't know who Billy or Kira is, the characters that AJ and Punk are playing. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, they're not really actors, so I don't expect this to be giant roles. I mean, I guess they're wrestlers, so they're kind of actors.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they're probably bit parts. Maybe Punk has a little more screen time because of who he is and all that. But the Soskas they have a very good eye for talent, and CM Punk he kind of dabbles in everything, really. He doesn't really let any, I guess, form of entertainment hold him back. He's been a wrestler. He's been a UFC fighter. He's been a comic book writer. Why not act?
He pretended to be a UFC fighter. Okay.
Just as he pretended to be a wrestler.
Yeah, but at least he was good at that.
Now I give him credit for, I'm not gonna.
I do too. I'm just busting his balls. I'm a big Punk fan, but I knew after that first fight that he needed to, stay out of that octagon, and he did.
I give him a massive amount of credit for that second fight. That boy was not giving up on that one. And hey, maybe maybe he missed his calling back in the days where he was just getting slammed around and ignored by the WWE. So acting might be a good thing in his future. And shit, if The Rock and John Cena and The Miz, and I can name a bunch of other bad actors out there, if they could do it, why not Punk? Like, let's see him in some movies now.
Yeah, well, I mean, them being in it is pretty cool. I'm fans of both of theirs, but it wasn't even a selling point for me. Just the movie, just such a random movie being remade, is enough of a selling point for me. And speaking of remakes, I got a very interesting article, hot take, opinion piece, whatever the fuck you want to dub it. It's a little bit of everything. It's turned into a much larger undertaking than I originally thought. But I am working on this piece about remakes that will hopefully be done very, very soon. I wanted to get it done earlier this week, but it just wasn't happening. So maybe tomorrow I can actually sit down and finally finish it. But every time I sit down to finish it, I like slam out another half a page, and it's just like, oh, just end already.
Yeah, I get like that sometimes too. Sometimes I'll fight myself with one paragraph for an hour. So like it's ridiculous sometimes. But hey, we're looking forward to putting it up. I'm sick of seeing the E3 feature on the website.
Yeah, so hopefully I can sit down for like a solid hour or two tomorrow at work and just bang out the rest of it, proofread it, and get it out. All right, so moving on, we have a teaser trailer of sorts, I guess you could say, for Stranger Things Season 3. Season 3 is going to be pretty cool. It's taking place in summer, I believe, this time.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be interesting to kind of explore a bigger landscape. It seems like it was a little bit refined I guess zoomed into a smaller little location, with obviously the first season having that more tight-knit vibe amongst the characters and community, but it seems like they're expanding a bit, and it shows that in the trailer itself, because Hawkins, Indiana got a mall now.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what the teaser is. It's just showing off. It's a teaser, but it doesn't really show you anything. It just gives you... you know what? I guess it's the best kind of teaser in every sense of the word.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's essentially a non-tease teaser.
Yeah.
It doesn't really show much of anything. It's a faux movie or faux mall commercial. Like it's really unique. It wets the whistle in a way. And I guess the only disappointing news is it looks like Stranger Things Season 3 is going to be coming next year, in the summer. Our wait seems a little bit longer than we expected.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's what's happening to popular television nowadays. A popular show, and when I say popular, I mean fucking popular. They'll finish their season, then they'll announce the next season, and then you won't get it for 2 years. I mean, look at Game of Thrones. All right, we're heading up to the final season, and we still have like a year to go before we get it.
Yeah, exactly. Fargo's doing it. True Detective took like 2-3 years off. It's bold. You don't hear of television shows take that long of hiatus, or at least you did in the past. And now they're just like, our show is so good that they'll fucking come back in 2 years. Who cares? And they're not wrong. Like I'm here. It is 2018, and I can't wait for 1 year from now before I could sit down and watch, the third season of Stranger Things. And this trailer made it. This little teaser trailer made it even more so.
Yeah, it's just upsetting. I don't like it when they make fans wait like that. There's no reason. Absolutely no reason. I mean, do they not realize that actors and actresses, age, especially kids that really haven't hit puberty yet, or maybe are right on that cusp of puberty? You leave one season and they're still cute and innocent, and then you come back the next season, which isn't for another 2 years, and it's like, whoa, what's up with the facial hair?
I felt that way when I started watching season 2. I'm just like, my God, Dustin aged quite a bit. Like, what's up with that? And come to find out, the show had been made maybe 2 years prior or something like that. So yeah, it's a little weird, but I think that they're going to be embracing that now. They're taking their time. I like the fact that they're taking their time on the writing. They really need to nail that. It's not always easy to keep the story going 3 seasons in. Maybe maybe people felt this was starting to slip last season. I didn't think that personally, but I think that they're going to be taking into consideration all of these things and making sure that they're at least written into the story properly. Like you said, the kids are definitely on that age, that sort of teeter-tottering point where it could go on, it's going to tip over. And I think they need to consider that, and I think they are. One thing that, this is not related to Stranger Things, but related to the whole kid thing, them taking their time on the sequel to It is really bothering me, because I'm hearing that the kids are going to be back, but how long's it been?
Yeah, it already feels like it's been like a year and a half, and again,
yeah, exactly.
Those kids are, the same age pretty much, and that's right on the cusp of puberty where everything changes. They could come back in another year and look completely different, sound completely different, to the point where you think that they've all been recasted. It's,
Take Halloween Dave Farrick.
Oh yeah,
he had to be recast in part 2 because he grew to like 6'1" or something between the movies.
Yeah, no, he exploded apparently. Well, it's actually he did, because I remember after the movie came out, he was at a Monster Mania, and I walked by his table, and he was there with his mom, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think his mom was running his table, but I ended up walking by his table. I wasn't interested in meeting him or anything, but when I saw him, I was like, Christ, what the hell happened to this kid? He went from, I guess a pseudo-typical looking kid in his early, tween, to like a year later, I see him at a convention and he looked like a homeless bum. Like he just exploded with hair and.
Yeah, it was definitely weird. Like when I heard that he was recast, I was like, "Come on!" It's only been, oh my God, what happened to him? I saw a picture and I was just like, "Oh my God, this is insane." But they're at that point. Thankfully, with the I guess the power and the time to write the story properly, they're able to factor in the age. But geez, man, like we're reaching that point where we're gonna have some adults on our hands for these seasons.
What they need to do is when a company or a network gets a TV show that is overly popular and it happens to star, a younger cast, what they need to do is after season 1, they need to write season 2 and season 3 together and film them back to back.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. I've been wanting them to do that with the It movies, like straight from the gate, because I knew that the flashbacks and things like that were going to be massively affected with the growing kids. So unfortunately, we don't always get that.
I mean, it wasn't a younger cast, but they shot Avengers 3 and Avengers 4 back to back, and goddamn, that was the right thing to do. They need to they need to just realize that at certain times for certain shows, certain series, certain movies, shooting back to back is 100% the way to go.
Yeah, especially with a show as popular as Stranger Things. You know, like I can understand going into the first season traditionally and just being like, okay, we'll see what happens of it. But when you have that sort of response, it's time to pony up the money, get the script writers on double duty, and make sure that that stuff gets done sooner than later.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's never going to happen, so we're just talking out our ass here.
Basically, yeah. Then again, with everything here, that's basically what we do. That's what they come in here for.
All right, so moving on from Stranger Things teaser trailer to 3 from Hell teaser trailer, which again was very much just a non-teaser teaser.
In every sense of the word. They most of the stuff that we've seen in the teaser trailer, we've already seen in The Devil's Rejects.
There's no footage or anything. No new footage anyway. We got some new audio clips, you could say, but they were like just news report audio clips, and
I think at the very tail end we might have gotten a piece of footage. I don't know if it was footage cut from The Devil's Rejects or if it was like stuff from the very beginning of 3 from Hell. You know, like there's a quick flash of like a bloody body on the ground. Like it's kind of a close-up of if I remember correctly, it was a shoulder or something. So it was in that news report area at the very tail end of the trailer. But it doesn't feel like we got anything new.
No, I don't think we did. As I said, we got some new audio, so to say, and the audio dropped a couple little hints to kind of lead you in a direction to where the movie is going, but nothing at all major or spoilery. But it was a cool little teaser, and from what Rob Zombie said on Instagram, it looks like they're going to be debuting a full-length trailer of some sort at one of his future concerts.
Interesting. I know that this teaser trailer is being played at the concerts now, but it'd be really interesting to see if it all like culminates into the debut of the actual trailer. And I know Rob Zombie said he was focusing on the tour first and worrying about cutting the movie when he gets back, and that very well might be the case. But you know as well as I do, he has a little editing suite in his tour bus, and he's tinkering away at the very least with a trailer. And if the teaser that we got to see through his little Instagram video, and it was shot with a camera phone, so it was like the most guerrilla type of marketing ever. But if that teaser trailer indicates anything, we're in for an interesting ride. You know, like pardon the pun, but I don't know, like we've talked at length about the whole concept of the 3 from Hell and how things could work out, but like I think the way that things are moving, we were like, I don't know if we were overly thrilled about this. And for me personally, when I seen this trailer, that all changed. That little news clip audio just gave me chills, and I'm just like, okay, I'm ready for the full trailer. Let's do this.
Yeah, I think it loses something when you watch it through, a cell phone recording. But if all goes right and I'm motivated, I'll be going to see Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson next week. So I'll be able to see the trailer firsthand. So I'll be able to get like a little bit more of a grasp on it.
Maybe some footage of it so we can post it.
We've already seen cell phone footage of it.
Yeah, but like shoot a good copy, man. Don't be an amateur. Fine, we're gonna have to rely on Michelle's copy.
Yeah, let her do it.
How nice of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be too busy just trying to get into a good seat to be worrying about filming a freaking trailer or a teaser trailer at that. If it's the actual trailer, then I'll try to film that. But I'm not refilming the teaser. I think that's silly.
You trying to get into a seat, that's giving me anxiety already.
I've been doing that for so many years. It's not that big a deal to me anymore. It's just a matter of me being motivated enough to get a ticket and go into my car and drive down there. Not that it's that far, but still a work night and gotta be traffic and shit.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. I would be more interested in it, but the set list, only a handful of the songs are things that I haven't seen live, and I'm sure I could get a decent quality video of the ones that I've never seen. So, I'm not overly thrilled to lose out on sleep or, video gaming. What night a week is that anyway? I forgot.
I think it's a Tuesday night.
Good. So that means we're not going to miss a show next week.
Let's see. I think it's the 20. I think it's 24, the 24th. But I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not, but I'm almost positive it is.
Yeah, it's the 24th, Tuesday.
Yep. So.
Phew.
But yeah, I mean the set list isn't all that good, though. It looks like they're opening up with just a recording of "Sawdust in the Blood," which I think is a track off of "Educated Horses."
It is. It's an instrumental. So it's probably. I know it has some clips in it, like pre-recorded stuff, but they'll probably play the music along with it.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, even just hearing it, obviously not being played live, but just hearing anything off of "Educated Horses" is cool. In my book, I thought that was a good album. They don't play anything off that anymore. Then everything else just seems pretty meh.
I got some bad memories from Educated Horses. I went to see him in Atlantic City, New Jersey. For that album, I was so stoked to see him. The song that I love the most off that album is "American Witch," and I knew they were basically going to put that in their set list. I didn't know where, but it was going to be there. And then we checked into our hotel. We got all ready to go. We started to head to the elevator. Got onto the elevator. Went to go downstairs to the House of Blues, and got stuck in an elevator.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I remember you telling me about it. I wasn't there for it.
We had to wait. I think we waited like half hour, 40 minutes, and then they basically kept talking to us on the phone and everything, and they're like, everything's good, you guys okay, this and that, and then we're gonna get the elevator working in a couple minutes, no worries. And then we heard firemen on top of the elevator. Needless to say, when I finally got down to the concert, basically we entered the room and I heard the last few words of "American Witch" as he switched on to the next song. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? We did get a comp out of it, though. Then the room was free for us for the weekend, so not too bad.
Yeah, that's... At least you got something out of that disaster, right?
Oh, yeah. But when we got out of the elevator, it was, pressed there and everything. It was so weird. We had, a whole group of people, surrounding the elevator door, and we're climbing up a ladder out of an elevator shaft out the door that's pried open. And I was like, oh, you guys had everything under control, did you? But they treated us like gold after that. We were like high rollers in that hotel casino.
Yeah, so that's good. You got something. But
yes.
yeah, I mean the set list really, and I've missed the last couple Rob Zombie shows because the set list has just been dog shit in my opinion. And honestly, this set list is probably one of the worst I've ever seen.
It's very typical summer festival or summer show type of set list. And being a fan of Rob Zombie and Manson as long as I have, I've seen this set list way too many fucking times. The upside is they're playing Helter Skelter, which is a Beatles song if I recall, and it's a dual song. Manson and Zombie work together on it, and that makes it really unique. So them ending the entire show with the two of them singing that song would be definitely worth seeing. And Manson's debuted his remake of G. Tom Mack's "Cry Little Sister," which
is awesome.
Yeah, like the song is amazing. I've always loved the song. I love the Lost Boys, and like who better to make it than Manson? And it absolutely kills. So I would have liked to see that live, and maybe Angel with the Scabbed Wings, but. Beyond that, it's very samey. You know, it's something that I've seen too many times. You know, like when Manson needs to start doing, and to some degree Rob Zombie as well, they need to start breaking out the albums and doing those album tours. You know, like the other bands have been doing, like Metallica and shit. Like, go out and fucking and play Portrait of American Family. You know, like go play Astro Creep. You know, just do something different for once. It's phoned in these days.
Yeah, looking at his set list too, it's you know, pretty standard. I mean, you know, he's playing "Cry Little Sister" live. He's actually closing his set with that song, but like, come on, play some other stuff off, like Mechanical Animals and Golden Age of Grotesque. It's basically he's just playing hits again, and I'm sick of seeing him on hits tours.
I'm sick of seeing most artists that I like on hits tours, and unfortunately, some majority of the artists that I go to see these days are bands that have released countless albums, and they just, you know, cherry pick the singles, and it's got to that point where I'm like, oh, they're playing, whatever.
Sorry about that. That was a stupid ad. I was looking up the stupid set list.
Oops.
Yeah. You know, whenever we get a show, or whenever a show from a band that we like isn't on a hits tour, it's never in the area. It's at some festival in Europe or on the West Coast. Perfect example, Testament is playing my favorite album ever, The Gathering, and it's a fucking entirety. And, of course, it's on the West Coast. Now, I can't fault them for doing an awesome show like that on the West Coast. They're from the West Coast. They're Bay Area thrash. So it's going to be a Bay Area show. But come on! Come on! That's not fair. It's favoritism.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The thing that I hate is when it's overseas festivals, because it's just like the most rare performance you'll ever see. You know, we're bringing back this person, and this person came back from the dead to play, you know, bass or whatever, and you're just like, what is it? Where is it going to be? And they're like, it's going to be at fucking, you know, like Download Festival, and you're like, come on.
Well, you're not allowed to complain like that, at least for another year or two, because I mean, you got your like original Misfits reunion, so.
Yep. You know what? I'll shut my mouth. I retract that statement.
So yeah, you got that, which is, you know, awesome for you as a big Misfits fan. I mean, I went to that show and. I don't know. I couldn't really make out most of those songs. I went for Suicidal Tendencies, who... You
know what's so weird about that whole assessment to me? Is you're like, oh, it was a bunch of noise. I didn't really understand what they're saying. You listen to thrash metal. That's basically what thrash metal is. Just a bunch of noise and things that you can't really make out.
It's calculated noise, and I can make out almost everything that they say.
Like punk rock is chaotic noise, and that should be appealing at least, you know, like especially being a fan of thrash.
I don't know. Maybe it was just because Glenn was just fucking huffing all night. Looked like he was about to keel over and die.
He's like what, 60 in his 60s maybe? Like, give that man credit. He may have looked like he was about to keel over and die, but I've never seen a more powerful performance. It just took him a few minutes to catch his breath.
Yeah, no, he looked like he was about to just fucking croak.
But one thing that I will say, though, regarding the whole noise aspect, Prudential Center is great for many things. Wrestling, hockey, pretty much anything that isn't punk rock. You need to see the original Misfits at, like, Dingbats, and then you'll really understand, like, the power of that band. Not in an arena. Not in any like stadium or anything like that. They may be able to sell those out, but the sound doesn't translate well. Yeah,
well, I doubt we'll we'll ever get the opportunity to see him again. So just enjoy what you got.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely glad. I'm glad you came with and hung out and shit, and it was a good experience. So no complaints about future shows for like 2 years. I'll be okay with that.
All right. So I think that about wraps it up for us this week. I don't think there's any other news for us to cover. We are not going to be covering any geek and comic news this week. We'll come back next week, I'm sure, with a chock full of shit, as today begins San Diego Comic-Con. Now,
yeah, it's preview night, right?
Yeah. Tonight's the first night of Comic-Con, but I mean, for me as a Marvel fan, I'm not really looking forward to anything because Marvel is not going again. That seems to be a running theme with them lately. It's just them just saying, you know, fuck Comic-Con. You know, they have their Disney, what is it called, D21 or something, convention that they release stuff on, and then they just march to the beat of their own drum at this point because they can. They don't need Comic-Con to push them. All right, they just don't. So
it is weird that they, you know, like it feels like something's missing when they don't rock Hall H. You know what I mean? Like they may not need Comic-Con at this point in time, but like with them not there, it just feels like there's a vibe missing from the whole weekend. But maybe that's just me.
You know, I guess because we always used to, you know, oh, we can't wait. What trailer are they going to show? And is it going to leak? Now I don't have to worry about that. Now I don't have to scour the internet to find some broken, busted-ass, halfway recorded version of a trailer through somebody's phone that they snuck in through their anal cavity because Marvel security is redonkulous. You know, so I don't have to worry about that this year.
That's very true, but you know that we've enjoyed many a trailer that way.
Yeah, we have
multiple times.
we have. I won't deny that, but not worrying about it this year is just great.
Yeah, I'm in the same sort of boat. Like I'm not thrilled about Comic-Con, but I'm more excited about other things. You know, let's see what's going on in TV world. So Nika is going to be having like some crazy ass releases from what I understand. So like as a toy collector myself, you know, I'm just like, all right, bring on the Nika news. I'm very excited about that. And they always kind of find ways to sneak in some surprises. So I'm just looking to kind of kick back, see what gets released, what gets mentioned. Maybe some stuff pops up that I'm interested in and things like that. But from what I understand, we're going to get some horror stuff too. So keep an eye out on the website, deadentertainment.com, cheap plug, because we're going to be covering some of it, you know, as things get put out. So see how it goes.
Yeah, what I'm looking forward to most is any information or possible footage from Iron Fist Season 2. I was a big fan of Iron Fist Season 1, despite it not being very popular amongst other fans. I loved it, and I'm looking very much forward to Season 2. And possibly some new news, photos, teaser trailers, or something for the new Hellboy movie. Because we haven't heard anything about that in a while.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Things have been quiet since they released that photo.
So, hopefully we get some maybe some other character shots, maybe shots of, you know, the new Ape Sapien. I would love to see Lobster Johnson or Roger the Homunculus. I don't even know if they're going to be characters in this movie. God, I hope so. If there's one thing that I did not like about the first two Hellboy movies, and I love them, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, is actually my favorite comic book movie to date. But the fact that neither of them had Roger the Homunculus was a little upsetting. Now, Part 1 sort of had a homage to Roger, but it wasn't the same. So, hopefully we get Roger and we get Lobster and maybe a couple of other characters that we're missing. But I'm looking forward to getting something. It's been too long.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And maybe if we do get something, I'll celebrate the weekend by actually watching Hellboy 2. I've been promising you for maybe 10 years, but I will watch it.
At this point, I don't even give a fuck anymore. You're never going to see that. You're never going to watch Troll Hunter. It's just over. It's over.
I like the new this new method of trying to get me to watch it, like this reverse psychology thing you got going on.
I ain't reverse psychology. That's fucking brutal honesty.
We'll see. But I gotta get to him one day.
So yeah, keep an eye on deadentertainment.com for any pertinent Comic-Con news. If we see anything good, we'll get it up there. And yeah, that is going to wrap it up for us this week. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, man. Much appreciated. It is it's good to be back, pretty much almost on our normal time. You can follow us over on Twitter. You can follow me at Bates_MotelMT and Ray Mungus at Ray Mungus. You can also follow Dead Entertainment on Twitter at DeadEntSite. And you can also find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/deadentertainment. And go ahead, like us, share us out, all that good, juicy, creamy stuff.
Yeah. Well put. And very descriptive.
Graphic.
And
We'll be back next week, and you can look forward to, I can't believe we're doing another movie so soon, but our next entry into our live commentary series will be coming up at this point on the 29th. I can't say for sure that is 100% because I actually might have something to do that night, so it's possible it might be the Friday after the 29th. I'll know for sure probably sometime next week. But the next movie we're doing, some fucking movie called House Shark. I don't know.
All right, hold on a second. I think Richie was right, and I was fucking up the date altogether. We might be doing it the 27th. I don't know why I was magnetized to 29. Will that change anything?
Hold on.
Dun, dun, dun. Cue the elevator music.
No, that's the date where I might have something I have to do.
Okay, that's right. All right, just let me know. We'll let you guys know. And yeah, House Shark.
Yeah, so
House fucking Shark.
It's either going to be the 27th or the Friday after. We're watching House Shark. I don't know what House Shark is. I saw the poster. It looks stupid. I must suffer.
Oh, wow. That's great. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I can. I plan on having a cooler full of beer and scotch. And
nice.
Yeah, that is going to get me through whatever garbage I'm going to have to sit through.
I'll do you a solid. You get to pick the next movie.
We're doing American Hippie in Israel next. We're doing American Hippie in Israel next. And whoever watches House Shark with us, I'm making them fucking suffer through that. Because that's what exactly they're going to do. They're not going to appreciate the charm of that fucking retarded movie like you and me. But
oh my god.
I can sit through that movie and laugh and enjoy it. The other assholes are going to have to sit through it. They're going to fucking hate me for it, and I can't wait.
Well then. I have a feeling that our viewers, what little that we have that are going to come in for that movie, they're going to only feel one feeling, and it's going to be wonderful.
Wonderful feeling!
Wonderful feeling!
And you will understand that, I don't know what you call it, I guess a line, and fucking the only line one character actually has in the movie. You realize that character only says...
I know, that's all he says the entire movie.
Because I think legit, I don't think that guy actually spoke English in real life.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
So I think that's all they could get out of him, and they were just like, all right, fuck it, we'll work with it.
If that's not the case and that was his acting, I'm just going to stick with your story.
But, yeah, so keep an eye out for that in the next month or so. And do yourself a favor and find the trailer for American Hippie in Israel, which has nothing to do with a hippie, sort of, and him being American and anything to do with Israel.
Israel's not even in it.
Yeah, I don't even know where they got this alternate title from.
But there's a shark, so...
There is a shark. There is a shark. Or is there? I have a theory about that shark.
Oh man, and like, don't spoil it for yourself. Do not watch the ending before you see this movie. Like, track down the movie and you wait for our commentary, because it's gonna be interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah, and it's an old movie. It's from 1972. It stars a bunch of people you've never heard of.
The best kind.
Yeah. You know what? I think some of the actors in it were actually Israeli. I'm looking at the names, and you would have thought these people were fucking Italian with how weird this movie was. No, I think the movie actually might be somewhat Israeli.
I feel like they found it in somebody's like chest that was buried in the cellar.
The director of the movie was from Israel.
There you go. Was he a hippie?
Possibly. He was born in like the 30s, so...
What about dual citizenship? Because I think we're on to something here.
The budget was only $60,000.
What did they spend that on?
I don't know.
Cocaine? Probably cocaine. It's definitely cocaine.
Yeah, a lot of cocaine.
Oh boy! All right, this is gonna be a good commentary. I can already feel it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. But I know this movie has an alternate title. The English title, The Hitchhiker.
Well then.
Yeah. All right, so enough of that. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Make sure you check out deadentertainment.com for all your horror needs, horror goodies. And as I said, keep an eye on it for the next couple of days as we're covering anything pertinent coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. And we will see you guys next week. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I'm good. I'll let you do the thing this time and not catch you off guard.
Oh, I was ready this time! I was actually ready!
Nice.
Alright, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you next week. And remember...
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.